Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your WWE Night of Champions post show, man. And there is a lot to talk about in today's episode. I'm going to give you guys the full rundown of what went down at Night of Champions, my thoughts of Night of Champions, and what I think's next after Night of Champions with certain superstars that competed at Night of Champions, man. But we start off the night red hot. We have the men's King of the Ring final. It is Jey Uso taking on Oba Femi. Now, I thought this was a really good match, back and forth matchup between Jey and Oba, with Jey unloading strikes on Oba in the middle of the ring. But Oba quickly hits Jey with a shoulder tackle, taking out Jey Uso. Jey gets up, sends Oba into the ring post on the outside. Uso then hits multiple topes to the outside, taking out Oba Femi, but Oba gets up, hits a shoulder breaker on Jey, with Oba keeping the pace of the match. Oba then goes for a choke slam on Jey, but Jey counters it. Jey then hits an Uso splash, but Oba gets up, hits a choke slam on Jey Uso for a near fall. After that, Jey then hits multiple super kicks on Oba, followed by a spear. Jey then goes to the top rope, hits an Uso splash, and then Jey hits another Uso splash for a near fall. Jey then applies a sleeper hold on Oba, but the hold is broken. Jey then hits a super kick on Oba, but Oba gets up, hits a running uppercut, taking out Jey Uso. Oba then gets up, launches Jey across the ring, and then Oba hits his signature fall from grace on Jey Uso in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and the winner of the men's King of the Ring tournament is Oba Femi. After the match, you can see Nick Aldis handing over the crown to Oba. Oba has a microphone and says, "It feels good from going from the ruler to the king." Oba says, "You can't beat Destiny, and you can't beat me." We'll talk more about this at the end of today's episode. Moving on from that, we have the women's King of the Ring final. It is Io Sky taking on WWE Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. Now, I thought this was a decent match. It was a back and forth matchup here between Io Sky and Liv Morgan, with Liv hitting a Hurricane Rana on Io Sky in the middle of the ring. Morgan was trying to keep the pace of the match. Liv sends Io into the ring post on the outside, followed by Liv Morgan hitting an Enziguri on Io Sky for a near fall. Io then gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting an Acai moonsault to the outside, taking out Liv Morgan. Io then goes for another moonsault, but Liv pushes Io over the top rope, sending Io to the outside. Liv then applies a half crab, but the hold is broken. Io and Liv then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Liv hitting a springboard code breaker for a near fall. Io then hits a Spanish fly off the top rope, followed by a moonsault, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and the winner of the Queen of the Ring tournament is Io Sky. After the match, Io has a microphone, calls her shot, and says she wants Liv Morgan for the Women's World title at SummerSlam. So it looks like we're going to get Io Sky versus Liv Morgan at SummerSlam for the Women's World Championship. Some interesting stuff there from Io and Liv Morgan. Moving on from that, we got a steel cage matchup, a little bit of a grudge match here between Seth Rollins and taking on the Vision's Braun Breaker. Rollins was wasting no time in the match. He grabs tables from underneath the ring. Breaker then grabs weapons from underneath the ring as well. Rollins and Breaker then are sitting across the ring from each other, yelling at each other. Referee sounds for the bell, and the match itself was a good match. It was a back and forth matchup between Rollins and Breaker. Rollins and Breaker both exchanged in the middle of the ring, with Braun hitting multiple release German suplexes on Seth Rollins. Breaker then hits a press slam, sending Rollins into the cage wall. Breaker then hits Rollins with a kendo stick. Breaker then sends Rollins back first into a chair for a near fall. Breaker then sends Rollins back first into the cage wall. Breaker then hits a jumping knee. Rollins then gets up, hits a powerbomb on Breaker. Rollins and Breaker once again exchange in the middle of the ring, with Rollins hitting Braun Breaker multiple times with a kendo stick. Rollins then sends Breaker into the cage wall, followed by Rollins throwing chairs at Breaker. Breaker then gets up, hits a Frankensteiner, sending Rollins onto the chairs for a near fall. Breaker then hits a springboard lariat, sending Rollins over the chairs for a near fall. Breaker then was yelling at Rollins, "You're gonna die." Rollins then hits a super kick on Breaker, followed by Rollins hitting another super kick using a chair. Breaker then gets up, hits a spear for a near fall. Breaker then climbs to the top of the cage, as well as Seth Rollins. Rollins and Breaker then both exchange on the top of the cage, with Rollins hitting a superplex through a table down to the ring. Breaker now is busted wide open. Breakker then hits a spear for a near fall. Breakker then goes for the door, but Rollins stops Breakker. Breakker then slams the cage door into Rollins' face. Breakker then goes for a spear and missed, and ends up going through a table up in the corner. Rollins then capitalizes on this by hitting a pedigree on Breakker, followed by a foot stomp for a near fall. Rollins then goes for another foot stomp, but Breakker then puts his hands out to seemingly stop Rollins. But Rollins then ends up hitting an avalanche stomp on Bron Breakker, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Seth Rollins. Hats off to Seth Rollins for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we got a U.S. title matchup for the men. It is Trick Williams defending the U.S. title against Ricky Saints. I thought it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Ricky Saints and Trick Williams, with Ricky stealing the kendo stick from Little Yachty. Ricky then pulls a play out of Eddie Guerrero's playbook and pretends that Little Yachty hit him with the kendo stick. Referee ends up hearing this. He throws out Little Yachty out of the match. Trick Williams then hits a spin kick on Ricky Saints, followed by a bookend for a near fall. Saints then hits a crossroads on Trick for a near fall. Ricky and Trick then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Trick hitting a neck breaker for a near fall. Saints then hits a Revolution DDT, followed by an elbow drop for a near fall. Saints then hits a jumping knee on Trick Williams, but Trick hits a trick shot on Ricky Saints, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and still U.S. champion is Trick Williams. After the match, Trick and Little Yachty attack Saints, with Little Yachty hitting a people's elbow on Ricky Saints. Some interesting stuff there between Little Yachty and Ricky Saints. Moving on from that, we have a women's U.S. title matchup where it is Tiffany Stratton defending the women's U.S. title against Jade Cargill. Now, I thought this was an okay match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Jade and Stratton, with Stratton keeping the pace of the match. Cargill hits a powerbomb for a near fall, followed by a boss man slam for a near fall. Stratton then gets up, hits a handspring back elbow, taking out Jade Cargill. Stratton then goes for a moonsault, but Jay had the knees up. B-Fab is here as well as Meechin. Meechin then throws Stratton off the top rope. This allowed Cargill to hit a choke slam for a near fall. Chelsea Green is here. She attacks B-Fab and Meechin. Jade then attacks Green. Charlotte Flair is here and takes away the title from Jade Cargill. Charlotte then hits Jade with the title. This allows Stratton to go to the top rope, hit a moonsault off the top rope, landing on Cargill, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and still women's U.S. champion is Tiffany Stratton. Hats off to Tiffany Stratton for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that, we go into our main event of Night of Champions for the WWE title. It is Cody Rhodes defending the WWE title against Sami Zayn and Gunther. Now, I thought this was a really good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Zayn, Gunther, and Rhodes, with Gunther keeping the pace of the match. Cody hits a Cody Cutter, followed by a Power Slam. Cody then hits a side effect as well. Cody hits a double Cody Cutter, taking out Gunther and Zayn in the middle of the ring. Gunther then gets up, hits a powerbomb for a near fall. Zayn then sends Gunther into the steel steps on the outside. Zayn then hits a Blue Thunder Bomb for a near fall in the middle of the ring. Cody then hits a Crossroads for a near fall. Zayn and Rhodes then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Zayn hitting a Brainbuster in the middle of the ring. Gunther then hits a powerbomb on Zayn in the middle of the ring. Gunther then hits another powerbomb on Rhodes into Sami Zayn. Gunther then goes for another powerbomb on Zayn, but Zayn counters it into a Code Red roll-up for a near fall. Zayn then follows it up by hitting a Helluva Kick for a near fall. Cody then gets up, hits a backdrop, sending Zayn through the announce table. Gunther then hits two powerbombs on Rhodes, sending Rhodes through the announce table on the outside. Gunther then applies a sleeper hold on Rhodes, but the hold is broken. Gunther then quickly applies another sleeper hold, but Zayn breaks the hold. Zayn then hits an exploder suplex, followed by a Helluva Kick for a near fall. Cody then hits a super cutter, but Zayn then hits a Crossroads of his own on Cody Rhodes. Gunther then applies a sleeper hold, but Cody hits a double Crossroads, but Zayn ends up hitting a roll-up, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and new WWE champion is Sami Zayn. Hats off to Sami Zayn for getting the win in this matchup. A couple of things I want to talk about with you guys, man, when it pertains to Night of Champions before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, was it a solid show? Yeah. I don't think the show was that bad, to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of flack right now, a lot of hate about Sami Zayn, which we'll get into here in a second. But overall, I didn't think the show was that bad. I really didn't. I didn't mind the start time of it being 1 p.m. Eastern. I actually don't mind the early start times because, I mean, Christ, man, you'll have AEW pay-per-views that are going off from, 8 o'clock Eastern main card all the way up until about 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'd rather have it be 1 o'clock with 6 matches than 14 matches and not ending until about 1:30 in the morning. I like the matches that were on the card. I will say this. I think the one negative I will say for sure off rip is the way these matches were, I wouldn't say booked, but I would say how they slotted these matches in for the entire card. Meaning, like, I wouldn't have had Oba Femi and Jey Uso or the men's and women's King of the Ring final to start off Night of Champions. And the reason why that is because a lot of people, at least for my opinion, I was watching Night of Champions solely for the fact of the finals for the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring final. Now, I could have seen that in the main event. I could have seen that in the first 2 matches leading into the main event. I didn't need to see that start the show. I would rather, honestly, for what it's worth, I would rather had the both men and women's U.S. titles to open the show. It might be crazy. It's not taking anything away from Trick Williams or Stratton or Ricky Saints or Jade Cargill. It's just, I think for me personally, you got 2 titles with the U.S. title for the men and the women's U.S. title that I honestly, I believe that those 2 titles alone play back fiddle to the Intercontinental Championships for both the men and the women. Hands down. I don't think a lot of people really give a rat's ass about the U.S. titles for both the men and the women. And that's not taking anything away from Trick. I just think that those titles alone, ever since they came into fruition, have always played a back fiddle to the Intercontinental title. That's just my opinion. I would have had those 2 matches start the show. I thought Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker was also a really good match. I know a lot of people are like, well, what's next for Seth Rollins? Which I want to talk about that as well. Look, I for what it's worth, I think Seth Rollins, I'm not going to sit here and say that Seth Rollins is in a bubble. I think what we got with Rollins and Breaker at Night of Champions should have closed the door between Rollins and the Vision. That whole storyline accumulated over what Braun Breaker did to Seth Rollins, seemingly kicking Rollins out of the Vision. These guys, both Breaker and Rollins, have had multiple matches now. We got the steel cage match at Night of Champions, which both Breaker and Rollins tore the house down. I think that storyline with Rollins and the Vision has come to an end. I don't think there's anything else left for Rollins to do with the Vision or with Paul Heyman. I think that chapter has closed, and I think it's time for Seth Rollins to move on. Now, with that being, said, what's next for Rollins? I know Rollins, my thing with Rollins is this. Rollins had to vacate the world title due to injury. He's due a rematch. Are we looking at something here, and this is where the confusion is all over the place once again, but are we looking at a situation here with Seth Rollins going after Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam? We know the history here between Rollins and Reigns. It goes back a long time. From their times in the Shield, their times on the on the Indies. Obviously there's a lot of history here between both these guys. Most notably the Shield. And that history has been spanning for a long time. So, and we know that Rollins doesn't have, he has hatred for Reigns and vice versa. But Rollins is due a rematch for the World Heavyweight title, a title that he has technically never lost. So are we looking at a situation here between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns going into this year's SummerSlam? Now, the question mark with that would be Oba Femi. How does Oba Femi fall into this? What's Oba Femi's decision now that he is now the King of the Ring, which we'll talk about here soon as well? What's going to be Oba's decision? Is he going to go after Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title? Or is he going to go after Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship? And again, the question mark still remains, where is Brock Lesnar? That's the $1 million question. But as far as, my situation with Seth is, he's owed a rematch for the World Heavyweight title. How Seth Rollins fits into plans at SummerSlam is still yet to be seen. But as far as him and the Vision are concerned, I think that chapter has finally officially closed after Night of Champions. I think Breaker and the Vision, they move on and figure out what the hell they're doing next. And Seth Rollins moves on to maybe the World Heavyweight title. It's still yet to be seen. So, but again, the Rollins and Breakker match was absolutely awesome. I thought it was a great match and a great way to close the chapter, hopefully, between Seth Rollins and The Vision. The other elephant in the room, obviously, that I want to talk about is the men's King of the Ring final. Obafemi versus Jey Uso. A lot of people, myself included, we all assumed that Jey Uso was going to win the men's King of the Ring final. I know some people are going to say, man, you said all this shit about Jey and yada, 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 and Jey was unsuccessful. You can't sit here and honestly blame me for picking Jey Uso the way everything was starting to play out. You had literally the hugest wild card in Brock Lesnar. No one knew when Brock Lesnar was going to show up. Was it going to be in Baltimore? Was it going to be on Monday Night Raw when they were in London? Or was it going to be at Night of Champions itself? Brock Lesnar hasn't been seen since Clash in Italy, number one. Number two, the way that WWE is so formulaic with the Bloodline. I mean, the Bloodline plays a huge key role on Monday Night Raw. It's one of the biggest stories going right now in all of both Raw and SmackDown, hands down. So you can't sit here and necessarily point the finger and blame me for assuming that Jey Uso was going to win the King of the Ring final, considering the fact that how much storyline was wrapped around Jey Uso. The fact that Roman wanted Jey to win the King of the Ring so he could challenge Cody Rhodes for a title that he has never won yet. The fact that the Bloodline has had issues with Cody Rhodes. The fact that we saw Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes have a stare down backstage at Clash in Italy. And again, the conversation that Roman had with Jey, convincing Jey that if he wins the King of the Ring, he should go after Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. So, Jey did not win, and Oba won, which I was shocked. I was happy that Triple H decided to do the right thing and crown Obafemi the King of the Ring. The question now with Oba is, what is next? Are we going to see Obafemi challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Or is Oba going to challenge Sami Zayn for the WWE title? And how does Brock Lesnar factor into all these plans? Because there is no way in hell, and I stand on this, I put everything on this, there's no way in hell that you're not going to have Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota. There is no fucking way. So, again, how does Brock Lesnar factor into the plans for Obafemi? Are we going to have Obafemi challenge Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title night 2, and then have Oba also face off against Brock Lesnar night 1? That's a tall tale task for anybody, man. You're talking about going up against the Beast and going up against the Tribal Chief in back-to-back nights. That's a lot of weight to carry, man. That's a lot. You want to talk about having the rocket ship strapped to your back. That's right there is the definition of that right there. Could that happen? Yeah. I mean, there's a very good chance that Obafemi could be wrestling night 1 and night 2 for SummerSlam in Minnesota. I'm not ruling that out, for sure. We know no matter what, Obafemi is going to get a title shot, whether it's against Roman or Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. The question is who is he going to choose? I know he's been trying to target Roman Reigns. If that's the case, I mean, Oba versus Roman would be a hell of a main event for SummerSlam. No doubt about it. But then you had to factor in Brock Lesnar, and then you would also have to factor in Seth Rollins. How does Seth Rollins get to Roman for the World Heavyweight title? And if that's the case, is that something that's going to take place at SummerSlam? There's a lot of what ifs going into SummerSlam in August, for sure. For sure. Now, going into Monday Night Raw, I think we're supposed to hear from Roman. We're most likely going to hear from Obafemi. We know that Io Sky had called her shot at SummerSlam against Liv Morgan for the Women's World title. But right now, we are waiting for the decision of Obafemi. Now, if Oba picks Roman, then we know the direction that Obafemi is having at SummerSlam, that we all know that he's going to challenge Roman for the World Heavyweight title. The question mark in all of that would be still Brock Lesnar. How does Lesnar fit into the fold for Obafemi going into SummerSlam? I've heard so much speculations, bro, from Brock coming back and winning a world title. I mean, there's been so many different conspiracy theories, man. It's been unreal. But I think the major thing with Oba, unfortunately, is Brock Lesnar. Where does Brock Lesnar come out and challenge Obafemi? We've heard Obafemi now for the past few weeks seemingly calling out Brock Lesnar, and Lesnar has been a no-show. From the Monday Night Raw they were at in Baltimore to the Monday Night Raw they were in London, and now Night of Champions, and still Brock Lesnar is a no-show. Does Brock Lesnar show up tonight on Monday Night Raw? We have no idea. All I will say is, again, There is no way in hell that you're not going to have Brock Lesnar a part of the SummerSlam festivities in Minnesota. There's no fucking way. There's no way. So we have that. The other thing I want to talk about too, the other huge elephant in the room, and seemingly has been getting a lot of flack for some reason, is Sami Zayn becoming the WWE World Title or World Champion. And I really do want to talk about this. First and foremost, I want to say this. Congratulations to Sami Zayn. I know a lot of people are fans of Sami Zayn. There's some people that can't stand Sami Zayn. They don't like him because of his political views, or he looks like this or looks like that, or he looks like a damn bum off the street, or whatever the hell this wild theory that you guys have on the reason why you don't like Sami Zayn. I'll say this. I've watched Sami Zayn wrestle for a long time. NXT Black and Gold, on the indies when he was El Generico. Sami Zayn is a guy who is a workhorse guy. Whether you like the guy or not, he's there day in and day out. Whether he's there getting his ass kicked or whether he's winning some matches. But the one thing that has always eluded Sami Zayn was being world champion. We've seen Sami Zayn US champion. We've seen Sami Zayn Intercontinental champion. We've seen Sami Zayn tag team champions. The one thing that has always eluded Sami Zayn throughout his entire WWE career is becoming world champion. Now, has he had opportunities? Absolutely. And he has come up short. We get to Night of Champions, and he gets that roll-up pin and becomes WWE champion, and literally instantly, a lot of people were like, man, what the fuck are we doing here? I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man, I'm glad that QB1 got benched with Cody Rhodes. It's not me taking anything away from Rhodes. I know there's a lot of Cody Rhodes fans out there. I get it. But we are talking about a brand in SmackDown that I cannot tell you that how much change they need right now on that brand. They need change right now like people need fucking oxygen. I'm happy that SmackDown's going back to the 2-hour time slot. Thank Christ. But, bro, you need something else besides Cody Rhodes being at the helm of SmackDown. You need something else. And Sami Zayn is that change. Now, do I think Sami Zayn's going to have this elaborate title reign? No, I don't. But it does spark interest for Friday Night SmackDown. They need something. They need something. There's also rumors of CM Punk going over to SmackDown. Great. They need it. Because not for nothing, I'm not going to sit here and say the Cody Rhodes experience or experiment has failed. But it's not doing SmackDown any justice. You can't have one guy, man, and Cody Rhodes trying to revamp this brand in SmackDown. You know what I mean? And I know that WWE and Triple H and that whole Triple H regime has a lot of faith in Cody Rhodes. And I'm not sitting here saying that I blame him. He's a company guy. Cody Rhodes is a company guy. 100%. He is pro WWE, and they, strapped the rocket ship to his back, and the rest was history. But he is a company guy. Do I think the same thing with Sami Zayn? No. Sami Zayn is almost a bona fide journeyman's wrestler, even though he's signed to WWE. Because you never know what Zayn's going to do. He's either a babyface or a heel. And the people that shit on Sami Zayn, I mean, not for nothing, bro. Zayn brought out one of the best stories in Cody Rhodes. He brought out that sinister side of Rhodes. That was the story. Now, I know a lot of people are also pissed off with the outcome because of Gunther and the fact that Gunther has been booked horribly for some apparent reason. And look, I don't blame y'all for that. I don't know what the plan is for Gunther. I feel like Gunther got thrown over to SmackDown because they had no other plans for him on Monday Night Raw. Being that this guy retired Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles. And retired John and AJ, I believe, in the same year. So I don't know what the plan is for Gunther moving forward after this. I know there was a little altercation there backstage between Gunther and Nick Aldis, and it has a lot of people thinking about the possibility of a Gunther versus Nick Aldis match. Look, I don't necessarily disagree with y'all. I think Nick Aldis can still wrestle. If you guys are not familiar with Nick Aldis' work, he was also a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's wrestled all over the world. He's wrestled for NWA and Billy Corgan's promotion. And he's wrestled on the indies and, like I said, all over the world. And he's wrestled some of the top guys in the business. Am I opposed to seeing Nick Aldis lace up a pair of boots and step in the middle of the ring again against the likes of Gunther? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, I think that's where the direction we're going here on SmackDown is for Nick Aldis to once again step in the ring. I think that's always been the plan for Nick Aldis, even though when they brought Aldis in, they brought him in as a general manager. Where, I'm sure Nick Aldis was happy with the decision and get the job with WWE, but at the end of the day, he's a wrestler's wrestler. And the guy wants to wrestle. So if he's given that opportunity, you better believe that Nick Aldis has no problem lacing up those pair of boots again and stepping inside of a WWE ring and competing for the first time ever in his entire pro wrestling career. So I'm not opposed of Nick Aldis versus Gunther at all. If you want to say SummerSlam, I'm not against that. You can build one hell of a story between Gunther and Nick Aldis. I mean, hell, Gunther told Nick Aldis to his face that he's some kind of washed-up has-been wrestler. This pissed off Nick Aldis. They had a shoving match backstage that was broken up by WWE security and referees. I'm all for it. I mean, there has been many a times where Nick Aldis has been teased almost to coming out of retirement, if you will, to compete in a WWE ring. I mean, it's happened with Drew McIntyre, and it's also now happened with Gunther. It's only a matter of time until we see Nick Aldis once again lace up those pair of boots and step inside a WWE ring. It's only a matter of time. Am I against it? Hell no. Absolutely not. I've seen Nick Aldis wrestle. I thought he was a great NWA champion. I think at the time when he was working with NWA and Billy Corgan, I think he did a fantastic job representing that brand and representing that most prestigious title in all professional wrestling with the 10 pounds of gold, in my opinion. So I'm not opposed at all whatsoever to see Nick Aldis step inside a WWE ring and compete as a pro wrestler. Not at all. If it's against Gunther, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. But I also say this, as far when it pertains to Sami Zayn, I will say I don't understand the hate. I don't get it. You know, I know people hate him because maybe his religious beliefs or whatever, bro. I can give a rat's ass about that. I'm here for the character himself, Sami Zayn, the wrestler. And Sami Zayn can wrestle his ass off, number one. And number two, we're talking about a guy that now has become WWE champion after 13 goddamn years. Cut the guy some slack, man. Cut him some slack. And right now, honestly, is it the worst option in all of SmackDown's history to have Sami Zayn as the WWE champion, bro? Give me a fucking break. Because here's the thing, too, bro. You'll have those same people bitch, whine, and complain about Sami Zayn becoming WWE champion, but love Sami Zayn when he was doing his U.S. Open challenges on SmackDown, the one thing that was saving SmackDown's ass. Give me a fucking break, man. There's so many hypocritical people out here, man. It's unfucking believable. Seriously. Oh, it's okay for him to be a U.S. champion, but we can't have him represent the brand and be a WWE champion. Why the fuck not? Give the guy a break. Cut the guy some fucking slack. Seriously. I'm happy Cody Rhodes got benched. I'm happy the QB1 got benched. I'm happy. Because not for nothing, I'd rather have Cody Rhodes chasing after the world title than Cody Rhodes being world champion. Honestly, because I think that brings out the best out of Cody Rhodes, to be honest with you. And there needs to be fucking change, man. Rip off the fucking Band-Aid and move on. I don't understand the hostility and the flack that Sami Zayn's getting and the disrespect because he became world champion. Give me a fucking break, man. This guy has been working his ass off for years. 13 years and he finally becomes the world champion. 13 years, over a decade. Come on, man. Cut the guy some slack, folks. I mean, really, that shit, I don't understand that shit. I really don't. Congratulations to Sami Zayn. What's next? I mean, look, for what it's worth, I'll say this. For those people that don't like Sami Zayn, I'll give you all this. Do I think Zayn is going to have some elaborate title reign that's going to last 400 to 500 days? No, I don't. There's people that I talk to, and I can't say I necessarily disagree with them, that they believe that Zayn's title reign is going to end before SummerSlam. I would not be shocked. Do I feel like Zayn might hot potato this championship? That might happen. A lot of people are calling this similar to Darby Allin's situation from AEW. Do I think Zayn's going to have a title reign going past SummerSlam? I don't. But if this is something where it's a tip to the cap for Sami Zayn, that he can honestly say at one time he became WWE champion, and that's the last time he's ever going to wear that title, then kudos to Sami Zayn. You write that off your bucket list, man. You had a hell of a career. And a career that's still going to keep going. You were a one-time WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, tag team champion. What more do you want? Not for nothing, I think any professional wrestler alone that's in any company, whether it's AEW or WWE for that matter, their goal should be, I want to become world champion one day. And people are giving this guy flack after 13 years finally becoming world champion. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Jesus Christ. I'm glad that Triple H and the powers that be went the route they did with Zayn. You're not playing it safe. There is some enthusiasm from the fans, or at least some fans. Some excitement. Oh shit, what's next for Zayn? Cody Rhodes lost the title. What's next for Cody Rhodes? It brings some kind of excitement going into Friday Night SmackDown on a show that has seemingly been the drizzling shits for I don't know how long now, at least for the past 2 fucking years. It brings some excitement. It brings some new, storylines into SmackDown. Because they fucking need it. I'm sorry. And Cody Rhodes ain't doing it. I'm sorry. With all due respect to Rhodes, he's a great wrestler. He's a company guy. Rhodes wasn't doing shit, man. I'm sorry. The excitement as far as SmackDown, it was dying. Yeah, I'm happy then when July comes around that the rumor is CM Punk is going over to Friday Night SmackDown. Great. Because they need him. They don't need him on Monday Night Raw. They need him on SmackDown because SmackDown is dying. They need something, man. Nah. No, absolutely not. There needs to be change. And I'm happy they're starting to go that way with Sami Zayn being a WWE champion. 100%. Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton. Again, decent match, if you want to call it that. I do believe the Jade Cargill experiment has run its course, and Jade's in the back of the line. And am I mad against that, or do I feel some kind of way? No, I don't. I don't think Jade can wrestle. It's been evident. And honestly, I think she needs to be, chasing after another title. To be honest with you. I know they're trying to, bring this Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill match to happen. Sure. I know that's a match that Jade Cargill really wants because she respects Charlotte Flair. Great. Awesome. Do I still believe Jade Cargill can wrestle? No. I'm sorry. Trick Williams and Ricky Saints? Yeah, it was a really good match. My issue with that match is, though, is I don't see Ricky Saints being a top guy in WWE. Might be a hot take. I see him being mid-card at best. To be honest with you. I hate the theme music that Ricky Saints has. I can't stand it. This is a revolution. I can't fucking stand that theme music. I cannot stand it. They're trying to play off the music that he had in AEW, and it's failed. I cannot stand that fucking theme music. But I see Ricky Saints being mid-card at best. I'm sorry. I don't see him being a main event guy. I just don't. It could change, but right now I think Ricky Saints is going to be a guy that's going to be stuck in the mid-card at best. At best. In my honest opinion. Where we go here next with Trick Williams, I don't know. Carmelo Hayes, Ricky Saints, I couldn't tell you. Might be sitting back and catering for a little while. I don't know. I do not know. Or maybe they move him down to AAA. I don't know. I just don't see him being a main event guy in WWE television. I don't. Oba Femi and Jay, again, solid match. But like I said, the question with Oba now is, who do you choose? Do you choose Roman Reigns or do you choose Sami Zayn? Knowing that you got Brock Lesnar lurking in the shadows. And that's the other $1 million question. When and where are we going to see Brock Lesnar? Will it be on Monday Night Raw? Who knows? Tonight? I don't know. But that's the question. One, who is Oba Femi going to choose for SummerSlam? Knowing that we got Brock Lesnar lurking in the shadows. When are we going to see the likes of Brock Lesnar show up and confront Oba Femi? When is that going to happen? Io Sky, she shot her shot. She picked Liv Morgan for SummerSlam to have a match for the women's world title. So we know that's going down in SummerSlam, at least one match. But like I said, man, there's a lot of what-ifs going into this year's SummerSlam. What's the plans for Seth Rollins going into SummerSlam? What's the plan for Roman, Zayn, Oba Femi? What's going on with Brock Lesnar? He's lurking in the shadows, just waiting for his time to strike. I don't know, man. I do not know. But what I do know is this. At the end of the day, Night of Champions did not disappoint. The match card itself, it could have been reshuffled. I wouldn't have put the men and the women's King of the Ring final to open the show. So I'll say that. But all in all, it wasn't a bad show. I mean, I don't think the crowd was really into it this time around for Saudi than other shows that they've had prior to going to Saudi Arabia. I felt like the fans alone, I felt like it fell flat. I don't think they were really excited that much for Night of Champions, so I'll also say that as well. Again, as far as the outcomes for the both Men and the King of the Ring tournaments, I'm happy with the outcomes of those matches. Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker steel cage match again was a really good matchup as well, and hopefully this closes a chapter between Rollins and the Vision, and Rollins can move on and who knows, maybe challenge Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. But I think that's going to be the biggest question moving forward, leading us into SummerSlam, is Oba Femi's decision. What's Rollins going to be doing going into SummerSlam, and when are we going to see Brock Lesnar? Knowing that Lesnar is lurking in the shadows, waiting for his time to strike Oba Femi. It's only a matter of time. But With that being said, though, this is my review of WWE's Night of Champions. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.